Hey girls, we're going to learn about Quae, Quod. You're not going to see my face because I don't know how to do that, but if you need a mental image, I'm sitting by the fire drinking a little hot chocolate. So there you go. So Quae, Quod, these are relative pronouns. You already know a little bit about these. Quae is masculine, Quae is feminine, and Quod is neuter. What is a relative pronoun? This is where you can start taking notes. A relative pronoun is used to connect a clause or phrase to a noun or a pronoun. So a relative pronoun is used to connect a clause or phrase to a noun or a pronoun. This noun or a pronoun that's connected is called the antecedent. You see relative pronouns every day. The most common are who, whom, which, and that. So here's some examples in English. The child who was stuck under rubble was saved. Who was stuck under rubble is a relative clause. Relative clauses are begun by relative pronouns, and they always point back to something in the sentence. So the child is the one who was stuck under the rubble. So child is your antecedent. This is a picture from Haiti. Here's another one. The man who became president walked with his family. Who became president is your relative clause. It's begun by your relative pronoun who, and the antecedent is man. Who became president? The man. Christians in Egypt protect Muslims who are praying during the revolution. This is what religion should be. Peace, right here. So Christians in Egypt protect Muslims who are praying. Who are praying is your relative clause. Who is your relative pronoun describing the antecedent Muslims. And the last picture is this cute puppy who followed the Pope in Mexico and got more applause than Pope Francis himself because he's so cute. He stole Pope Francis's thunder. The dog that followed the Pope enjoyed the adoration of the crowd. That followed the Pope is your relative clause. That is your relative pronoun, and it's following the antecedent dog. All right, so the next slide, you're going to see all the charts for Quae, Quod. You can pause this at any time so you can copy these charts. So copy them and then we'll go through them a little bit. This top chart is singular and the bottom chart, where's my cursor? The bottom chart is plural. So singular up here, plural down here. So take a second to copy. When you say these charts and memorize them, you're going to say them across. So you will say Quae, Quod. Quius, 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 qui, quem, quam, quod, quo, qua, quo. Qui, quorum, quorum, quibus, quos, quas, quae, quibus. And we're just going to say that over and over again in class because you have to be able to say it quickly. Qui, quod, quis, qui, quem, quam, quod, quo, qua, quo, so on and so forth. Note that cuius and qui are very different than things you have seen, and that the Q changes to a C. Okay, now we're going to talk about how you translate these. So Quae, Quod is who, that, which, all the way across. Cuius is genitive, so it's going to show possession. Of whom or whose. In a sentence, this would be like, the book whose pages are worn, or the man of whom I read. That's how you'd use it. Quae is dative, so you're going to have your gang signs, to or for, whom. So this is like, the man to whom I wrote the letter, or the master for whom the slaves worked, or something like that. Quem is whom, which, that. Quo is preposition plus whom, whom. And then the plurals are translated exactly the same. So let's look at how this is going to work in English. In Latin. You can pause and write this stuff down if you want. These are just little hints. Okay, for you to know how it works in Latin, you've got to know this. You'll understand what this means. We're going to be looking for case, number, and gender so that we know which Quae, Quod to choose. For instance, if we need a masculine, singular, nominative form, we'll say Quae. If we need a masculine, plural, genitive form, we'll say quorum. But we have to figure out what the case, number, and gender we need are. So here are the rules for that. Number 1, the case of the relative pronoun comes from the relative clause. So we're going to just look at the relative clause to see if that relative pronoun should be nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, or ablative. Then we have to look at the antecedent for the gender and the number. So if we want to know if it's masculine and singular, we have to look at the antecedent, the word it points to. So let's practice. The man whom the woman kissed refused to fire on protesters. So to find a case, you don't have to look anywhere outside of this clause, so just look at the underlined. Whom the woman kissed. We have to ask ourselves, what part of speech is whom? Is it the subject? Is it the direct object? Is it the indirect object? What's it doing in this clause? Well, let's first figure out the subject of the clause. Kissed is our verb, so we say who's doing the kissing? It's the woman. So let's rephrase that and say the woman kissed whom. Now we can see that whom is the direct object. Whom is the one getting kissed? So it's accusative. Now we have to figure out, is this whom supposed to be masculine, feminine, neuter? Is it singular or plural? To do that, we look back at the antecedent, which is man. Man is singular and masculine. So now we go to our chart and we find our singular masculine accusative, which, if you look down, try to find it, it's quem. So in our sentence, we'd have the word quem. The man whom the woman kissed refused to fire on protesters. Whom is quem. Let's try another one. A child and woman evacuate New Orleans with others whose lives were changed forever by Hurricane Katrina. So to find the case, you only look at the relative clause. We need to find our subject, so let's look at the verb. The verb is were changed. What were changed? Lives. So lives is our subject. Whose is possessing lives. So this is genitive. Now to find the gender and the number, we have to figure out who the whose is referring to. So a child and woman evacuate New Orleans with others whose lives. So it's others. Others probably includes men and women, so it's masculine, and it's definitely plural. So we go to the genitive masculine plural, which if you look at your chart, is quorum. So in the Latin sentence, you'd have the word quorum, which would mean whose or of whom. A woman confronts the police to whom she offers peace. This is taken this year in Ukraine. Our relative clause here is to whom she offers peace. We only look inside here to find our case. So the verb is offers. Who is offering? She is the subject. So let's rephrase. She offers peace to whom? Now it's clear that it's dative because we've got to whom. She's offering peace to whom? So it's going to be dative. Now we have to look back at who it's referring to. It's referring to the police. You can see from here the police are plural and they're masculine. So after we look at our antecedent, we know it's masculine plural and we know we need the dative. So if we look at your chart, it's quibus. And the last one. This woman, about whom the book was written, reveals her face after being released from Sharia law. So let's just look at this. About whom the book was written. Let's find our subject. Let's go to our verb. Was written. What was written? The book is the subject of the relative clause. So let's rephrase. The book was written about whom? Okay, whom is the object of the preposition about. In Latin, the word about is de, down from concerning about de. I hope your hand popped. So we know that de takes the ablative, so whom is going to be ablative. Now we look to the antecedent to find our to find our gender and our number. So about whom refers to the woman, so it's singular and feminine. And I made a mistake because if you look down at your chart, it should be qua, not quae. So I'm sorry, just pretend that E doesn't exist. It's qua, because it's feminine, singular, ablative, qua. All right, so doing all of this should help you with your homework, and this is the homework sheet. So let's just take one that's a little bit harder, like number 6, which you're not doing for homework. You're only going to 5. This is your relative clause. Let's make it a different color for you. Come on. Okay, that's your relative clause. So let's come back to that. Let's do the rest of the sentence first. So it says the student was living in the country. Wonderful. Now we've got to do this cuius part. If you look at your chart, cuius is genitive, so we know it's going to be translated whose. It's right after the student, so we're just going to assume that it's from the student. That's how I did these for you while you're learning. So whose sheep I was smelling. So the student whose sheep I was smelling was living in the country. That's a weird sentence. But ophakie bomb, you can see from the bomb, the subject is I. It's imperfect, so it's I was smelling. Sheep is the direct object, and cuius is whose. So the student whose sheep I was smelling was living in the country. So hopefully that helps you understand how to do the top 5. All right, well, good luck. Thanks for listening. This was longer than 5 minutes, so I apologize, but I hope it helped. If you've got questions, feel free to email me, and I hope y'all have a nice weekend, and perhaps we'll have a snow day. So see you later.